Welcome to All Out Politics, an hour of news, debate and comment in the post-Brexit world. We are in the Conservative Party conference, Theresa May closing it later on today. Well, if you wanted evidence of the earthquake caused by Brexit, something we're discussing, just look at the state of the UK Independence Party. They have lost their new leader after less than 3 weeks. Well, let's take a look at how Diane James' stint as party leader has unfolded. She was elected leader of UKIP at the party conference in Bournemouth on the 16th of September this year. And just a few days later, she says she was spat at Waterloo Station when she was on her way to her first meeting with Douglas Carswell, UKIP's solitary MP. Diane James had wanted to abolish the party's National Executive Committee, but she faced a lot of resistance to that idea, not surprisingly, from within the UKIP hierarchy. Mrs. James has also cited recent personal issues. It's believed that her husband is seriously unwell. And put all together, those pressures mean that Diane James is quitting UKIP as leader after just 18 days in the job. Well, joining me now, Peter Whittle. He is the UKIP group leader in the London Assembly, and he joins us from Westminster. Mr. Whittle, thank you very much indeed
Morning, Adam.
For being with us. What do you understand has gone on with Diane James and this sudden departure from her new job?
Well, I haven't spoken to Diane this week, but as I understand it, of course, things that you maybe think you can handle before you take over suddenly are drawn into very sharp focus when you actually become leader. And I think that, as she said in her statement, she had, personal problems, serious illness in the family, and presumably the pressures of being UKIP leader, which frankly I would say are about double the pressures of being any other party leader, obviously got to her. And so I think the only credit really that is due here in a way is that she stood down pretty early. I know it's very easy to make a joke about this, but it was better actually to do that now and get it out of the way rather than basically spin the whole thing out.
But it does leave the party looking a bit silly. I mean, do you think possibly the people to blame are the people who organised the leadership contest and managed to exclude the three front runners for the job one way or another with their rules?
Well, no, life is funny. When you look back at it like that, it sort of seems like it was a total jumble, but it really wasn't. People were excluded for very particular and very important reasons. When you look back at it retrospectively, it all seems like a bit of a bun fight. As for UKIP looking silly, I really don't think we do look silly. All of basically our problems tend to be enacted right out in the public. That's as it should be. But I think the crucial thing now is that we have the most extraordinary opportunity in UKIP. We're on 16%. We are setting the whole political agenda, as you can see up at the Tory party conference where you are at the moment. So it's vitally important now that in the next couple of months we get one of the enormously talented people that are in UKIP in place and have a fresh start. I mean, the fact is it was always going to be a bit of a difficult ride after Nigel left. You're talking about one of the most influential politicians of the past two generations. It was always going to be it was never going to be smooth, I think. But I think that what you'll find is that we will have somebody in place after the hustings, which we will go through again, of course, as you should do, and we'll be able to go forward next year, and we will replace Labour as the opposition party in time.
Wouldn't it just be better if you start with Nigel Farage? I mean, he is the figurehead, the leading figure in the party, massively popular. Would you like him to stay on?
Have you asked him? I mean, I think he's really enjoying life at the moment. I mean, there's no chance of that. Nigel has gone on to a kind of a strange, different level internationally now. And that's absolutely as it should be. No, Nigel is not going to come back. Besides which, we have great people in this party. And I would say that Diane acted in a way honourably, actually, by standing down very quickly. Remember when Chuka Umaga stood for the Labour leadership some time ago? He was in the front line of politics, but then when he actually stood for the leadership, suddenly within about 2 days, he'd withdrawn, citing pressures and family and what have you. So this sort of happens, you know. So it doesn't mean anything like the end of UKIP. UKIP is actually only just starting. It's the most relevant force in British politics today.
Ms. Whittle, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.